So, good morning, everyone. I'm Alicia, and I'm a grateful recovering sex and love addict. And welcome to Monday Recovery Q&A. And I want to really welcome any questions that you might have. Feel free to put those in the chat. So, the first one that I want to answer is, what are top lines? And I think this is such a great question because in all the other programs that I've been introduced to, mainly OA, Al-Anon, AA, and I've sat through a few debtors meetings, I've sat through a few under earners meetings, um, I've sat through a few CODA and ACA meetings, and I've never heard any other program talk about top lines. And I think it's so important. So, the best way to understand top lines is the contrast to bottom lines for our program. So, our bottom lines are those activities, behaviors, thoughts that trouble us and lead us into either they are our acting out behaviors, our bottom lines, or they lead us into acting out behaviors. So, common bottom lines are, no social media stalking of qualifiers, no going to places that are triggering. Like for me, one of the first things that I had to do when I got sober was avoid Starbucks. Now, that sounds crazy, but I did so much intriguing. And as I'm answering this question, I'm aware of all the different terms I'm using that newcomers might not. I've already used qualifier. I just used intriguing. So I think this is going to like mushroom. Um, but bottom lines are like if you walk into AA, the bottom line is clear: no drinking. If you walk into our program, the bottom line for each of us is not so clear because we all come here with different patterns. I have cheated before, but I don't have a pattern of cheating. So many women come here because they have a pattern of cheating. So that's one of the most primary things on their bottom line list is no cheating emotionally, physically, no intriguing that could lead to cheating, those kind of things. So that's bottom lines. And the top lines, like for us, when we get here, so much of our life is wrapped up in other people making us happy, like other people being the ones who are the keeper of our joy. Like if we're not with him or her, then we can't be happy. And so, what we have to learn how to do is be the keepers of our own joy. Like, I get to figure out how to curate and cultivate happiness in my life. And so the top lines are all the ways that we do that. And so they're all the healthy things that we do that bring us joy. And sometimes they can be even just, cleaning out a drawer or cleaning out your closet like I'm doing now. But most of all, they're things like meditation and, being able to have what I call white space. When we get here frequently, our lives are just so packed from the minute we open our eyes to the minute we go to sleep. We're just going, 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 doing. And white space is an advertising term that when you look at an ad, that it's not just completely congested with print and copy, that there's white space there. And so that white space gives the reader the opportunity to actually absorb what's on the paper or on the print. And so the same with white space in our lives is that white space is just unstructured time. And in a lot of ways, that's very healthy and good for us. Things like, getting a massage, taking a bubble bath, getting our exercise in, doing yoga is a very popular top line. For me, lighting candles is a top line. So I've got two awesome candles lit behind me, and my room will smell fragrant all day, and I just love that. So they can be as frivolous as the, lighting candles, or they can be as important as journaling. Journaling is a really healthy top line. So They help us to live a happy, joyous, and free life sober. And so it's very important when we get to recovery that we set the bottom lines and we set the top lines. And both are ever evolving. Like as we go, we can see other bottom lines that we might need to add. I was a year and a half sober when I was in a relationship, and he was a periodic alcoholic, which was very contentious when he'd been drinking. And we got into a big fight one day, and it was horrible. I'm not a fighter. I don't want to fight. I have extraordinarily good communication skills, and I've cultivated them just so I don't have to fight. And we got in a fight, and I am telling you, he got in my face and had choice words for me, and I got in his face and had choice words for him. And afterwards, I can't tell you how horrible I felt. Like, I didn't feel sober. Like, that didn't feel good. And so that's an emotional sobriety. And so I set a bottom line of no emotional outbursts, because that was the way my mom manipulated and controlled us. Very narcissistic, rageaholic woman. And those angry outbursts, you feared her. And I just didn't want people to fear me. And then another guiding principle is that when people find out that I'm a spiritual person and that I work a 12-step program, I don't want them to go, huh? You're spiritual? You're in the 12 steps? Like, you don't act like it. You don't sound like it. Like, I really want who I am, who I stand for, to be congruent with my values. And so that was a really important top line that I had to set. I had gone on a road trip with a couple of girlfriends. So, one of the girlfriends is I'm close to, and the other girl is more her friend, but I like her anyway. And we got to Sedona, and we were just having a great time hiking and cooking and finding new recipes and just such quality, healthy girl time. And the friend of my friend on Sunday morning, she said, okay, I'm going to go to Mass now. I said, you're what? And she goes, I'm going to go to Mass. I always go to Mass. And I have to tell you, this is one of the most sarcastic, bitter, didn't seem to have an ounce of spirituality in her. And I just had a jaw-dropping moment. Like, wow, I don't want that to be me. Like, I want it to be congruent. So top lines help us to really fit into that congruence. So I do want to answer the unspoken question of what is a qualifier. And qualifiers aren't every person that we date or marry. My first husband, I've only had two. My first husband was, I would not in any way consider him a qualifier. He was 20 years older than me, and we just really grew apart. And the same with some of the gentlemen that I've dated. Of the 5 sober relationships that I've had, I would consider 2 qualifiers. The rest, we just didn't have anything in common, and it just didn't work. But qualifiers are people who bring out the worst of us. Like, they're not healthy for us. Trying to have a relationship with them is exasperating. They fit into that category of, when I say the 5 kinds of men that I don't date and you shouldn't either: cheaters, abusers, users, losers, confusers. And so those categories, if we're trying to make a bad relationship healthy, we just can't do that. So love needs to look like love and feel like love and sound like love. And we need to feel like we're in a love relationship. Even if it's early on, we want to see that that person has the care and concern for us, that we could be in a love relationship with them. If it's already confusing, like as we get healthier and healthier in recovery, we're not attracting cheaters, abusers, users, losers, but the confusers still wiggle their way in. And so it's our job to see, like, oh, this is confusing. This doesn't feel right. And we can speak about it. We don't have to always cut and run like I used to do, but we can speak about it and say, here's what I'm sensing. I'd love to hear what is going on for you. And so the sooner that we see that somebody isn't a fit, then we want we want to move on. And again, not try to make an unhealthy relationship healthy. So qualifiers would definitely be men who fit into any of those categories, and people who just, they're lying to us, they're addicts, they're don't have our best interest in mind. If you think they're cheating on you, they probably are. So there's something about it that isn't healthy or whole. The other term that I used was intriguing. Like I would go to Starbucks and intrigue. And so intriguing is there's a certain quality of flirting, but it's really comes from our disease of trying to get lava from strangers. Lava being love, attention, validation, and approval. So we're trying to get this lava from anybody, and we can do it with eye contact, and we could do it with our smile. And what we have to look at is there's nothing with eye contact and a smile when we're sober women, and that we know that that eye contact and that smile doesn't necessarily lead to something else, So part of our job in recovery is to learn how to be a very healthy, boundaried woman. A boundaried woman. Like I am a boundaried woman today. Just because somebody wants to talk to me or wants my phone number or wants to have sex with me, I'm boundaried. I choose, and I have the right to say no in every circumstance, in every situation. So intriguing gets us in trouble because we're not boundaried. We're not connected to a higher power. We haven't become whole, autonomous women yet. Like we get to be whole, autonomous. We're unplugged from all of the romantic obsession, and we're connected to our higher power. And like our self-worth, we're learning to love ourselves like our higher power would love us. So that's what intriguing is. That's what qualifiers are. And that's what top lines and bottom lines